Racially traumatic incidents are way too common in the U.S., as we all know, and researchers are just beginning to uncover the impact that it seems to have on mental health. Hopefully this viral video that a Louisiana woman posted after a traffic stop will be a bit of a wake-up call.
I got pulled over by a police officer, and I couldn't understand why, because I knew I wasn't speeding. He said, "I was just checking on you." And as he said that, I just broke down crying, and I told him, I said I was so scared. And he just kept saying, "Please don't cry, please don't cry. I just really was just checking on you, and I just wanted you to be safe. And I just noticed you were driving a little slow, and I was just checking to make sure you weren't tired." And he just gave me a hug and told me to be safe and take care.
So, I mean, will this show people that for folks of color, sometimes there's just no such thing as a routine traffic stop?
Yeah.
You think people will understand, because I think a lot of people don't realize that it is, you know, we have to start thinking 2 or 3 times ahead of what do, you know, where do I put my hands? I want to make sure he can see everything. You know,
it's terrifying. I mean, it's not as terrifying for me because as a former prosecutor, you know, I know how to interact with police officers, and I actually have a card that says former federal prosecutor, so that we know we're on the same page. You know, I have that, but I talk about it on the show all the time. I worry so much about my husband and my father and my son, because we know that even in 2016, 34% of the unarmed people were black males, even though black males are only 6% of the population that were killed by police officers.
As I was watching that, and another thought came to me, because I think that black people, we know this now, are constantly stopped. They don't get cabs, and it's terrible and terrifying. I think that this girl's, I related to some part of this because the kindness that this particular policeman showed was so counterintuitive to what she expected. It's like when you go to the doctor after a traumatic, you've been treated lousy by one doctor, and you go to another and he's kind to you, you cry more from the kindness than you did when you were treated badly. And I thought that's what that sounded like to me.
And it's almost like there was a study recently on PTSD. And they say that because when you're seeing all of these police shootings of unarmed black men and you're part of that community, you can actually suffer from PTSD. There are people that are traumatized. I know, I talk to you guys about it all the time. I am traumatized every time my son is away from me and he's leaving the house. I am traumatized by it because I don't know how to make it safe for him. I mean, I know that 1 in 5 kids under the age of 14 drown. Right? So I made sure that my kids had swimming lessons. How do I make sure that my black boy goes out and is safe? How do I do that? And it's almost impossible to do that these days.
I think it's really important, too, that this officer, we talk about empathy a lot and the need for empathy. And when I watch this, it always shocks me because I've been privileged enough to not have to live those moments so far. I get stopped by a cop, it doesn't even occur to me. But just because it doesn't occur to me doesn't mean that I shouldn't have empathy for the experience of people who live that every time. So it's very eye-opening, I think, to see that. I appreciate it
to you. It doesn't have to happen to you.
Right. To feel someone's pain.
Right.
All anybody has to do is think for 1 minute. Why would we make this up? Why would we make it up? We don't have any reason.
You don't have to. It's on videotape.
No, but the point is, most people don't believe that it's right. That's when people say, "Oh, you just playing the race card." No, you know.
I don't know if it's they always can't believe. I think there's a special when you actually feel it.
Well, yeah, but it would be nice not to have to show this in order for you to understand what we're talking about.
You just cooperate,
we'll
nothing will happen.
Hi, this is Amy, Jason, and Will, and we are going to be on The View doing a little game.